Boy, it took until the last second, but the clock finally struck midnight on Colorado State's Cinderella run. Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Jeremy Hohola. The Rams' quest for their first Sweet 16 bid since 1969 came to an end on a buzzer-beating game winner for Maryland. 9 News sports anchor Scotty Gaines joins us now. Scotty, gosh, I mean, we were all in the newsroom. That last second, so close.
We heard everybody go, no! Oh, it hurts so bad.
What a bummer.
I think I'd rather lose by 45 points than lose that way. But oh man, they had such an electric, magical season, right? They won 11 straight games to get to this point. Maryland was the 4 seed, CSU was the 12 seed. They fought so hard to finally get there. They made the perfect shot with 6 seconds left. And then Derek Queen, he's the king of Maryland tonight, I tell you that much. They lose, the season's over. Chris Tavares is going to join us within the hour to share the heartbreak from that locker room. And you have to feel bad for these guys because they played so hard. They did everything right. The defense was great on the last second shot, but sometimes that's just how March works out.
They were ahead the whole game.
I know.
The whole game all the way to that last second. Real bummer. All right.
That's how it happens, huh?
We'll see you again, Scott. Yeah. Thank you. Well, it is another cold night here in Denver. That wind we felt yesterday died down a bit today, but get ready for things to warm outside this week. Maybe even a record-breaking day of heat. 9 News weather impact meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen joining us here now. Corey, how's it look?
I think it's looking like we got some records coming. Thursday is our best shot at a record, but we're going to have some warm days ahead. Take a look at the satellite and radar picture here. You can see this spin here, this clockwise spin. That's the high pressure that'll start evolving this way. We're kind of catching the top of the jet stream right now, so that means more wind. Yay, right? I mean, that's sarcasm. I know you're about sick of the wind, but we're going to have one more day of pretty widespread, frequent wind gusts tomorrow, and then we should lighten up just a little bit going into the rest of the week. This is nice for right now. We're seeing those lighter winds throughout the metro area, 5 to 23 mile per hour gusts just now in Boulder. Foothills are pretty strong winds. That's going to increase as we go through the night here. Northern Front Range looking pretty decent. High temperatures today were pretty warm. We're going to get up into the 70s tomorrow, so about 10 degrees warmer. Here's your forecast in Denver for Monday. A mix of clouds and sunshine, getting up there to 70 degrees tomorrow. I'll have that full forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Aurora police have arrested a mother and her son in connection with a deadly shooting on Friday night. APD says it happened just after 10 p.m. at an apartment complex on East Adriatic Drive near Iliff and Buckley. Police say a downstairs neighbor heard commotion inside an apartment unit. The neighbor went to the unit and found a man shot inside. He was then taken to the hospital where he passed away yesterday. Today, police arrested 45-year-old Leonandra Williams Whitehead and her son, 24-year-old Jameer Williams, on suspected first-degree murder. Police say Williams Whitehead and the victim were in a relationship. Detectives are still investigating this case. Boulder County officials say a man died while climbing in the Riviera climbing area of Boulder Canyon. Around 3:15 this afternoon, officials received a 911 text about a climber who was hurt after falling about 20 feet. While emergency personnel were responding, more 911 texts came in saying CPR was in progress and the victim was unresponsive. Officials say the man later died from his injuries. New tonight, President Trump is complaining about a portrait of himself hanging on a wall at the Colorado State Capitol building. He posted tonight on Truth Social, slamming the artist and Colorado's Democratic governor. He calls the painting purposely distorted and claims people in Colorado are calling and writing to complain about that portrait. He says the portrait was put up by Governor Polis, but here's the thing. The portrait was actually funded by the state's top Republican at the time.
Whether this portrait brings a smile or a scowl to your face, remember that you have the right to do so because this is the United States of America.
That's what former Senate President Kevin Grantham said at the portrait's unveiling in 2019. He crowdfunded the cost on GoFundMe. President Trump didn't actually have a portrait hanging in the Colorado Capitol for the first half of his term. In 2018, a prankster put up a portrait of Russian President Vladimir Putin before a tour guide removed it. And this portrait was put up the following year. Tonight's Trump's Post says Governor Polis should be, quote, ashamed of himself. We reached out to the governor's office for a response. We'll keep you updated. Postal workers rallied in Denver today, part of a nationwide day of action for the National Association of Letter Carriers. Dozens of Postal Service Union members in Denver met on the Capitol steps, telling the Trump administration to leave their jobs alone. According to the NALC, Trump is considering a move to make the Postal Service a part of the Commerce Department. The union says more than 600,000 jobs would be cut. Workers say Trump's actions are unconstitutional and illegal.
I'm a 28-year employee of the United States Postal Service. Promises have been made to me for me to get to retirement, and I want those promises to be upheld. I want those promises to be upheld not only for me, but every single person that gets hired after me.
This rally wasn't the only one happening in Colorado. Postal workers also gathered in Colorado Springs to protest the proposed move. A bill going through the state legislature would make it easier for food trucks to get licensed from county to county across the state. 9 News reporter Angeline McCall joins us now with how this could all work. Angeline.
Jeremy, food truck owners say they've had to turn down jobs over knowing the cost and, more often, the time that it would take to get the necessary licenses as well as inspections. We spoke with the owner of Stokes Poke, who spoke about some of the challenges he's faced with licenses while also making some food with friends today before his busy season ramps up. As a food truck owner, Alejandro Flores Munoz wants to focus on the food rather than on licenses or paperwork.
I think that when you're starting a business, you oftentimes think about your menu, what you're going to sell, but then quickly you realize that there's a lot of other hurdles and obstacles, which is licensing.
He started his food truck Stokes Poke in 2017, taking on events and jobs as much as possible.
I have to first look at how difficult is it going to be for me to get a license to be able to operate in that county. And so sometimes I've had to decline offers because I'm like, this event is not big enough for me to go through that entire process.
The process, he says, can be a few $100s per county and hours spent on paperwork and in-person inspections.
Having to travel to that county line, having to travel to your food truck, get it inspected, go to a different department, the timing that it takes for you to get a license sometimes can be a month to 2 months.
It's why nonprofit Adelante Community Development is working to cut the red tape.
Everybody knows about the problem.
Maria Gonzalez with Adelante says the bill they've helped create would streamline the licensing process county to county.
We see how hard it is for them to get their licenses, and it shouldn't be that hard. So we want to make sure that we remove what is unnecessary and that we really look at, statewide streamlined processes.
The bill would remove duplicity across different licenses and eliminate in-person inspections from county to county if you've already done one. It's the part that keeps Alejandro from sometimes saying no to a job today.
What this bill will do is it will open commerce more than already is, right?
There is something already in effect that's kind of called the Tri-County Permit that covers certain areas of the metro. However, this bill would really expand this to a more statewide initiative. Angela McCall, 9 News.